My girlfriend said, "You'll never be good enough for me." I replied, "Maybe you're not wrong." Then I walked out of our own party, checked into a hotel, gathered every receipt and screenshot, and I just watched as her Monaco trip, her office romance, and her public image started to crack. Welcome back to AF Tales. In today's story, we explore a man whose girlfriend tears him down in front of a crowd while secretly lining up a new life with her boss. As you listen, notice the moment where you would have walked away for good. I am 29, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had my life mostly figured out. I had been with my girlfriend for 4 years. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party. We clicked fast, that kind of easy conversation where the night ends and you feel like you have known the person for years. Within 6 months, we were living together. She worked in marketing for a tech startup. Ambitious, driven, always talking about the next big move, the next promotion, the next big client she was chasing. I respected that about her. I thought we were building a future together. I thought we were on the same team. The night everything fell apart was supposed to be a celebration. Her company had just closed a major deal and she wanted to throw a party at our apartment. I took the day off. I cleaned the place top to bottom, moved furniture around, set up snacks, drinks, music. It was our shared space, but I treated it like it was my job to make sure everything looked perfect. About 30 people showed up. Co-workers, friends, a few people I had never seen before. People were laughing, drinking, talking about numbers I did not care about. I stayed busy in the kitchen, refilling ice and making sure everyone had what they needed. At one point, I was standing there with a bag of ice in my hands when I heard her voice rise over the music. Honestly, I don't know why I'm still with him. I froze. She was near the balcony with 3 of her co-workers. I could see them through the doorway. They had drinks in their hands and that half-amused, half-curious look people get when they know gossip is coming. One of them said, "Come on, he seems nice." She laughed. It was not a warm laugh. "Nice doesn't pay for a lifestyle," she said. "Nice doesn't get you into the rooms that matter. I need someone who matches my energy, someone who's going places." That was the first time I truly heard how she talked about me when I was not supposed to be listening. Sometimes the biggest red flag is not what is said to your face, but what is said when you are just out of frame. I stood there holding the ice, feeling it melt against my palms. Then she turned her head and saw me. Our eyes met for maybe 2 seconds. She did not look embarrassed. She looked annoyed. I walked over, set the ice on the table beside them, and before I could say anything, she raised her voice so everyone nearby could hear. "You'll never be good enough for me." The conversations around us went quiet. You could feel the room shift. I felt my chest tighten, but something in me refused to fall apart in front of her audience. I gave a small, controlled smile. "Maybe you're right," I said softly. Then I picked up my keys from the counter, walked through the crowd, and left. No scene, no shouting, just a decision. Sometimes walking away without a speech is louder than anything you could say. I got in my car and drove. No destination, no music, just the sound of the engine and the air through the window. I drove for hours, letting the city pass by in blurred lights. Around midnight, I checked into a cheap hotel near the airport. I turned my phone off, lay on the bed, and stared at the ceiling until sleep finally caught up with me near 4 in the morning. When I woke up, I turned my phone back on. 47 missed calls, over 100 texts, most from her. A few from friends who had been at the party. I did not open hers. I did not have the energy. One message stood out. It was from her friend Natalie. We had always gotten along. She was one of the few people in that circle who treated me like a person, not just my girlfriends plus one. Her text said, "I know you probably don't want to talk to anyone right now, but I think you should know something." "Can I call you?" I replied, not ready to talk. "Text me." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then her message came through. "You know what she said after you left?" My stomach dropped. "What?" I asked. She said, "Good, now I don't have to break up with him before the trip to Monaco. Brandon's going to be so much easier to deal with." I read it 3 times. Brandon, her boss. The man she had been working late nights with for 6 months. The man she always called a mentor. the man who was apparently taking her on a trip to Monaco. There is a special kind of pain when a suspicion you pushed away turns out to be exactly right. I sat on that hotel bed, staring at the screen, feeling numb. Then I did something I am not proud of, but I am also not sorry for. We had a shared cloud account for photos and documents. She had never changed the password. I logged in. There was a folder labeled Work Trips. Inside were dozens of photos. Her and Brandon in Miami. Her and Brandon in New York. Her and Brandon in what looked like a very expensive hotel room. Champagne glasses on the nightstand. His arm around her waist, both of them in bathrobes in one picture. The timestamps went back 9 months. The story she had been telling me about late nights at the office did not match what I was seeing. I did not go back to the apartment for 3 days. I stayed at the hotel, ordered cheap food, and started thinking in a different way. Not about how to win her back, but about how to get out of this without being dragged down. I called a lawyer. Our names were both on the lease, but I had been paying 70% of the rent for 2 years. She had said she needed to invest in her career. I had believed her. The furniture, the big TV, the expensive espresso machine she wanted. My card. The lawyer told me to document everything, so I did. I pulled bank statements, credit card records, receipts. I built spreadsheets. I took screenshots of texts where she had asked me to cover her half of the rent just this once, the ones that had turned into a pattern. On day 4, I finally went back. She was on the couch, red-eyed like she had been crying. The place was still messy from the party. Empty cups. Plates stacked on the counter. "Where have you been?" she asked, standing up. "I've been worried sick." "Have you?" I said, setting my bag down. "Of course, you just walked out without saying anything." "You told 30 people I wasn't good enough for you," I said. My voice was calm, almost too calm. "What exactly did you expect me to say?" She bit her lip. "I was drunk. I didn't mean it like that." "Which part?" I asked. "The part where I don't match your energy, or the part where nice doesn't pay for a lifestyle?" Her expression changed. The concern faded. The edge came back. "You were eavesdropping." "You were talking about me 10 feet away," I said. "That's not eavesdropping, that's me having ears." She crossed her arms. "Look, I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt, but you have been coasting. I'm out there building a real career, making connections, pushing myself. You are comfortable." "I need more than comfortable." There it was, not just disrespect, but a belief that she was trading up. I nodded slowly. "Does Brandon give you more than comfortable?" I asked. Her eyes flashed for half a second, then she tried to reset her face. "Who told you it's not what you think?" "Natalie told me what you said after I left," I said, "and I saw the photos." I did not mention the cloud account. I wanted to see if she would tell the truth on her own. "We're co-workers," she said. "Those are work trips. You're being paranoid." I pulled out my phone and opened the folder. I held up the photo of her and Brandon in bathrobes in the same room with champagne on the nightstand. Her face went completely still. The color drained. "Get out," I said. "This is my apartment too," she snapped. "Actually," I said, "according to the lease and payment history, I've paid about 70% of everything for 2 years. Here is what is going to happen. You are going to pack a bag and leave tonight. Then you are going to stay somewhere else while we break the lease properly." She opened her mouth, but I kept going. "And if you fight me on that, those photos and your messages go to HR. I looked up your company policies. They have a strict rule about relationships between supervisors and subordinates. There is a difference between revenge and self-defense." This, for me, was self-defense. She stared at me. "You wouldn't," she said. "Try me." She left that night. From what I heard later, she went straight to Brandon's place. The next morning, I changed the locks. The lease did not technically allow it, but at that point I had stopped caring about technical rules. I cared about safety. 2 days later, Natalie called again. "You need to hear this," she said. "She is telling everyone you were abusive. That you controlled the money and isolated her from her friends." I sat there, cold. "What?" I asked. "She is spinning the whole story," Natalie said. She posted on her private Instagram about how she finally escaped a toxic relationship. People are believing it. They are sending her messages about how proud they are of her. This is something people do not talk about enough. Some of the loudest voices about escaping abuse are telling half a story, and sometimes none of it is true. I asked Natalie to screenshot anything she could. Then I called my lawyer. He told me to stay quiet in public, not to respond online, and to keep collecting evidence. He said defamation cases are hard, but if she kept going, we might have options. 3 days later, she posted a public post, long caption about finding the courage to leave and healing from narcissistic abuse. She did not use my name, but she did not need to. Everyone who knew us knew who she meant. My phone lit up with messages. Some people asked if I was okay. A few who barely knew me wrote things like, "I always knew something was off." They wanted to pick sides without knowing facts. I wanted to post everything. The photos, the texts, the spreadsheets, all of it. My lawyer told me again, do not let her talk, let her create a record. Then Brandon made a mistake. He commented on her public post. Something about being there for her through her healing. His name, his role, all visible. Someone at their company saw it. Someone connected the dots and reported it to HR. Within 24 hours, their employer opened an investigation. Apparently, people had suspected the affair for a while but had no solid proof. Now they did. The investigation took 2 weeks. In that time, I moved out of the apartment completely, broke the lease, paid the penalty, and found a smaller place across town. I wanted a fresh start more than I wanted to win every dollar back. Natalie kept me updated during that period. HR did not just find the affair. They also found irregularities in their expense reports. Brandon had been approving inflated travel costs for her. Small amounts each time, but enough that it added up, enough that the company cared. They both got fired. She tried to call me the day it happened. I let it go to voicemail. "This is your fault," she said in the message. "You ruined my life because you couldn't handle me being successful. I hope you are happy." I deleted it. A week later, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Brandon, we need to talk." Blocked. About a month after everything blew up, I ran into one of her old coworkers in a coffee shop. She looked uncomfortable, but she walked over. "I just wanted to say I am sorry for believing her without asking your side first," she said. "It's okay," I said. "It's not," she replied. "She is doing the same thing to Brandon now, telling people he manipulated her into the affair, that she was scared to say no because he was her boss. She is painting him as the abuser now that he is out of the picture." I was not surprised, just tired. "Good luck to him," I said. 3 months have passed since that night in my kitchen with the bag of ice in my hands. She moved back in with her parents in another state. Brandon's wife left him, and he is apparently having trouble finding another job in the same field. I do not feel sorry for either of them. They made choices. The consequences showed up. As for me, I am doing better than I thought I would. I got a small promotion at work. I moved into a place I actually like. I started going to the gym again. I went on a date last week. Nothing serious, but it felt good to sit across from someone who did not make me feel like I was not enough. Natalie and I still talk sometimes. She has apologized more times than I can count for not speaking up earlier. I tell her the same thing each time. It was not her job to save me, but I am grateful she told me the truth when she did. I still think about that party sometimes. About standing in my own home and hearing the person I loved tell a group of people that I would never be good enough for her. In a strange way, she was right. I was not good enough for her version of a life. A life built on status, upgrades, and always looking over someone's shoulder for something better. Her definition of good enough meant ignoring my own values, letting myself be walked over, and accepting whatever story she chose to tell. I am good enough for me. That is what I hold on to now. Here are some of the things I learned. Lesson 1. When someone is comfortable disrespecting you in public, it means they have been disrespecting you in private for a long time already. Lesson 2. You do not have to stay and argue when someone shows you who they are. Walking away can be your full answer. Lesson 3. People who betray you often try to rewrite the story so that they look like the victim. You do not have to join their version of reality. Lesson 4. Protecting yourself is not petty. Gathering receipts, setting legal boundaries, and going quiet can be acts of self-respect. Lesson 5. Being not good enough for someone who wants to use and blame you is not an insult. It is a sign you and that person should not share a life. What about you? If you heard your partner tell a room full of people that you were not good enough and found proof they were lining up someone else behind your back, what would you do? And do you think you could ever trust someone again after they tried to paint you as the villain in their story? Or would that be a line you could never cross back from?